My name is Liz, and today I'm going to show you how I made this brick wall.
You're going to need some foam board, a 2x4, drop cloth, screwdriver, blue tape, some pink putty, paintbrushes, white paint, and some command strips.
I forgot to mention the plastic welding tool. This is the box that it comes in. This is what it looks like.
The first step in any DIY is to prep your space. So I first remove the plates from all the sockets. Then you have to very carefully take the film off the top of the foam. It's going to be a lot, it's going to be messy, but be careful because you might crack the foam. I definitely did. It's super delicate. And then you're going to have some film left over on the foam, but that's okay because you're going to paint over it anyways. Next step is to take your 2x4 and draw out the grout lines, which you will eventually melt with the plastic welding tool. To draw the grout lines, what you need to do first is take the 2x4 and draw all of the horizontal lines. Then you take the smaller piece and draw all of the vertical lines. What you're doing with the wood is you're basically using it like a stencil. So when you lay down the large 2x4, you'll trace one side of it, then the other, and repeat that all the way down the piece of foam. You'll do the same thing with the smaller piece of wood, except this time you're drawing the vertical lines. So only trace the outside of the smaller piece instead of the top and bottom like you did with the horizontal piece. The smaller piece of wood that I'm using right now is just the end of the 2x4. When we were at Home Depot, we asked them to cut off a piece that was about, 7 inches. I wanted it to be relatively the same size as like a real brick. I don't know what the size of a real brick is, but it seemed right to me, so we just went with it. Then what I did is I found the center point of the smaller piece, and I just took my pencil and made a little mark there so that I knew what the center line was. You want to do this because it's sort of like a guide of where the next line of bricks should be drawn out. And the reason is because it will be lined up with the center of the brick below it. So this will help you achieve that staggered brick look. When you're done with the first panel, lay down the second panel next to it so that you can match up the pattern so that the bricks are going to line up seamlessly. Then label each panel on the back so that you know what goes where. Now you're going to take the plastic welding tool and just trace all the lines that you drew. 2 pro tips. If you have a rug, make sure that you have a solid surface to lay the plastic welding tool on because it is very hot and it literally melts everything, including your rug. Pro tip number 2 is definitely wear a mask. This stuff is not good for you, and I should have been wearing a mask the entire time. And make sure that your space is ventilated. I had my doors open and windows open, so it was pretty well ventilated, but I should have still worn a mask. When you're creating the grout lines, don't worry about mistakes. You're probably going to drop it once or twice or make the lines crooked and whatever. It doesn't matter. The more you do it, it actually helps the wall to look more natural because if you look at a real brick wall, nothing is perfect. So you're going to want those little imperfections pretty much everywhere. And then I actually went back in and added more. So the next step is to put it up on the wall, and we did that using command strips. What you want to do first is check the back of the panels and make sure that you're lining up each panel in accordance to how you labeled them. When you're lining everything up, just make sure that you're aware of where the outlets are so that you can cut them out. Then I went back and added in some additional details. Then what I did is I went back into where the panels meet each other at the seams, and I just melted the lines into each other more in order to hide the seams as well as possible. To really marry the seams, what you want to do is get the pink putty and put it in any of the cracks that you see to really, really make it look seamless. Now it starts off pink, but once it's dry, it goes white and it's a little bit textured, which is what you want because, again, a real brick wall is obviously very textured. This is what the wall looks like before we painted all of it, and you can see the difference that it makes. When you do paint, make sure you get enough because the foam really soaks it up. It's like a sponge. If you want to put up a shelf like I did, I would suggest waiting until you put all the panels on the wall. Reason being because then you can sort of measure out where you want to put the brackets and where you want to put the shelf, and it's just foam, so it's really easy to cut through. This is what the wall looked like when we were finished. You can still see the seams a little bit. I guess you can't really avoid that. Maybe I could have put on more putty, but it doesn't bother me too badly. What really helped though was melting the grout lines, the horizontal grout lines, after we put the panels on the wall. I think it just helped to make it look like one big piece as opposed to like 3 separate panels. This is what the wall looks like now. You can see I've put my furniture in, I hung some pendant lights, I put up some artwork and some plants, and this is how the space looks now.
All of the supplies that I used are listed below. Thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more of my pendant lights, that bad boy, then stay tuned because I have a how-to video on how to make the pendant lights. That's it. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.